Morning and welcome to another episode of Sofa Safaris. We're just outside Tundatula Safari Camp and following up on yesterday's episode where Luke and Britt were fortunate enough to see a huge clan of hyenas interacting in the block just behind us here. Yesterday afternoon we actually went out and managed to locate what the hub was all about, and they'd managed to tackle a large buffalo bull. Whether they took it down or the lions took it down, we're unsure, but yesterday afternoon we managed to see 3 different predators on this carcass: hyenas, leopard and lion. So we're going to head back into this block and try and see if we can relocate on it. As you can see, large buffalo bull has been reduced to some skin and bone in the last 48 hours. 15-20 hyenas and a couple of large male lions, one of which is actually in the bush next to us. It's incredibly thick in here, which probably led to the buffalo's demise. Lions have a sufficient amount of cover here to get up and close and stalk in. You can actually see the large wake of vultures sitting behind us. Always a good indicator that someone's not having a very good day. I'm going to sit tight for a little bit and see if this lion won't make his way out. No hyenas in the area, with the male of this side. It's one of the Naru males. They'll give him a wide berth, wait for him to move off, and then hopefully maybe come in and pick up whatever's left. But when we came in yesterday afternoon, we actually had a large male leopard who'd also snuck in. Leopard will happily feed on carrion, free meal, come on in, sneak in while the hyenas were off lazing about during the heat of the day. And also had a good feed. But it's just incredible how a 800 kilogram carcass has completely been repurposed and just broken back down. Managed to get that. He's obviously got a large fur ball. You can imagine eating a carcass of this size. He's consumed a huge amount of hair, and he was trying to expel that. And he's just sitting tight. You can just make out his belly. He's actually so uncomfortable at this point in time. His gut is enormous. So the lion's just moved behind the bush and tucked himself away. Can't really see him too well, but we've backed up a little bit. It's incredible to think that, a lioness weighing in at maybe 150, 170 kilos has tackled an animal that's 4 times her body weight. I mean, it's a real achievement. When they go after buffalo bulls of this size, they tend to try and subdue the animal. So a lioness will tackle from the back, focusing on the tail or the hind legs to try and stop the animal from moving. The minute that animal can use those horns or that body weight to get moving, that's when the lions are in trouble. Another lioness will then try and jump on the back again to slow the animal down, and the killing blow will actually come from the front, where on smaller prey species they'll suffocate around the neck. On buffalo bulls of this size, their necks are so big that lions can't get their jaws below that neckline. So they'll bite over the muzzle. You can actually see the muzzle is really torn up. Lioness will actually lock herself as tight as she can around the head of the buffalo, biting over the muzzle. And every time that buffalo bull exhales, she just crunches down and slowly but surely will suffocate the animal. It is a slow and very dangerous process, but as you can see, the rewards on tackling an animal of this size are huge. They'll feed for a couple of days here if they aren't chased off by other predators. So well worth their while. But I have seen lions come out with severe injuries from trying to tackle buffalo bulls of this size, especially if, let's say, a lioness falls off the back and this male, let's say a buffalo bull, he's able to get traction and really use those horns. There's a lot of risk involved in this. But judging by that man's belly, he's pretty happy that this meal was provided for him. Okay, we've got a yellow-billed hornbill here. He's actually feeding on termites. He's actually breaking open this large termitarium. Fantastic source of protein. He's using that big powerful bill to actually chip away at the soil. He's actually feeding on those termites. We're only actually seeing a very small portion of this termite mound. These termites, macroterms, actually massive fungi farm. So below, we've only ever seen maybe a third of this termite mound. There's a huge tube-like structure below us here. It's massive levels where they actually farm the fungus. Watching it actually, you see it's really getting in there now. It's obviously a favourite mound of his. You can actually see where the birds been defecating in and around you. So this is obviously a good feeding point for him. Early morning, come getting a bit of sun, a bit of breakfast in. So we've just seen this yellow-billed hornbill feeding on the termites. We're going to take you in and show you a little bit more about these termitariums. These little creatures here are a real ecological force to be reckoned with. They're incredible. As we said, we're only ever seeing just the top of the termite mound. Below us here, we have massive big chambers. The royal cell, brood galleries, and the fungus combs where the termites are actually growing their fungus to feed on. Termites lack pigment, so they'll feed under cover of darkness or under little mud wallows that they've actually created. We're going to go in and have a closer look. This hornbill's obviously got onto a good thing here, and we're going to see a lot of other bird species coming in to try and feed on this. So to give you an idea, to illustrate our point, there's the large crown, central chimney, where in the summer months, in the heat, they will open up larger chimneys to allow heat to come out of the colony. And as we go down, you'll start seeing these various chambers within the colony over here. Let's go in and have a closer look. We're gently trying to fish out one of the soldiers for you. They have large mandibles. They've obviously responded to this attack from the yellow-billed hornbill. And I'm gently trying to see, they've got very large mandibles. There we go. Okay, so they're really bitten on there. These actually look like little workers. So they'll actually be piecing this together. We're going to gently put them back. You can just make out a larger soldier in the back there, and he's actually actively just biting down. You can see the large mandibles there that he's using. Really complex colony, this. Beautiful example of it. And you can actually almost feel the heat coming off this termite mound. They'll keep this at a constant 32 degrees. In this area, the termitariums will be north facing, so they gain maximum exposure to the sun. There's a great example of a large soldier just over here, and he is really big and powerful. This guy's not letting go. There's a real synchronized effort here to close this mound up again. The soldiers are on standby in case of another attack. And they'll be feeding on dead organic matter, so grasses, fallen trees, bringing it back to this chamber, feeding on it, defecating it out within the fungus chambers, and then that is actually where the fungus will actually grow, and that's what they consume. They can actually then break that down into a food source and feed the queen in the brood chambers. He's not letting go, but fantastic source of protein. You'll get aardvark digging down into these chambers to try and get to these termites using their massive powerful claws. Pangolin will also feed on them. And then the burrows are often used by warthogs, a variety of other mammal species, porcupines, jackals, and so on. And the termitarians themselves, you can see how high we're placed here, will often find leopard, cheetah, lion actually placing themselves on these termitarians to gain a vantage point over the surrounding bushveld, and then carrying on hunting. You can see right near the crest of the hill, and this mound looks to be very extensive. It looks to probably be about 20 odd meters in width and length, so a real active mound, but probably going down another 10 meters. So fascinating little creatures.
Say hi, Quinny.
So our good fortune continues. We've managed to pick up on a young male leopard called Tlangana. He's actually just placed himself up high in this weeping boerbean. And just in front of his nose, he looks to have a young impala. Looks like he's been here for probably the last sort of 12 hours. He's had a good feed on it. This young male's just shy of his second birthday. He's done incredibly well in this area. As we've seen over the last 24 hours, as the dry season really takes hold, the interaction that we're seeing between predators coming into conflict with each other is just far greater, and really prime time for game viewing. Your prey species are moving towards watering points, and the predators are following it into these points. So really pulling back into their core areas. Beautiful stretch of river line just over here. A weir not far from us, so water, good water close by. The impala, very water dependent species coming in. So he's positioning himself perfectly. We hope that he can really establish a territory of his own in this area over the next couple of years. Typical leopard pose, completely draped over the top, relaxing. We've seen some interesting feeding behavior over the last 12 hours as well, where the hyena on a carcass just feed as ferociously as possible, just try and consume as quickly, as much as they can. Our leopard and lion feed at their leisure. He's placed it up in a tree to get away from hyenas, and over the next day or two he's going to quietly just feed on this, and again just gorge himself, make the most of it. Our Naru male, also just massive belly, but again just lying at a short distance off, feeding at his leisure. We've got some movement, slowly having a look around. I think he's picked up on something just to the south of us. Might be a hyena. The vervet monkeys are going not too far from us, so it might even be another leopard. His mother, Tombi, is still in the area with young cubs as well, so she will not take too kindly to him being around. Really growing into himself. You can see the size of those paws already. Doing exceptionally well. He's picked a really good tree here. It's nicely tucked away. Leopard will feed very differently to our larger predators. He would have killed this impala probably close by, dragged it in here, disemboweled it, covered the bowels up to mask the smell from hyenas, maybe fed on it to lighten the load, and then slowly pulled it up the tree. As we saw earlier, our lion coughing up a massive fur ball, leopards tend to pluck their prey. So below the tree here in the grassland, we'll pick up hair from this impala where the leopard's actually physically plucking it out so to avoid fur balls. Oh, nice little stretch. Let's see, maybe he's going to come down for us. Break. Just checking to make sure his carcass is still safely tucked away. Break. He's back up again. We've just stumbled upon a young elephant bull just along the river line here. Really thick undergrowth, and he's making full use of his trunk. As you can see, he's actually pushing up dead branches to get to the longer grasses that have been left behind. And even though the elephant's diet would have switched very heavily to more fibrous material, so bark, leaves, trees, and so on this time of the year, he's really moving in to get to that grass. You can see how he's actually working the grass down. He's hitting off any dirt so he doesn't chew that. You see him really working the grass down through the trunk and then shoveling it in as he goes. I'm sure there's a herd not too far from us here, but this young bull is probably just on the outskirts. There we go, wraps it around, up it comes. The grass below that is a lot more palatable than what we've been seeing out and about in the bush. Still probably maintained. You can see a couple of green shoots there, so it's still got a bit of moisture to it. Working it again. There we go, wrap, pull. Knocking off any excess dirt. obviously heard something, so he stopped. And carries on going.
Is it
So a small
filming?
family of warthogs. Just gone to the dam, had a drink. Highly mobile, tails in the air. Catching the local radio station. Oh, and it'll smell the wind is actually blowing towards the pig, so you can see his snout up, trying to catch a whiff. Earlier touched on the termitariums that are burrowed out by aardvark. Warthog are another one that will use these burrows extensively. They struggle to thermoregulate, so they'll use it obviously for protection, going into the burrow with their bums, snouts facing out, keeping warm in the winter months, and then also coming into the dam as it warms up for a drink, to wallow, cool off. There we go. We've got some community web spiders here. This is a beautiful example. It's a really, really large group. Inside this you'll have a lot of males, females, youngsters, and they all nest within this massive web, coming out to feed on insects. So insects will be caught up in the surrounding webs, surrounding the actual house, or home if you will, and the spiders actually come out and hunt in the community. So they'll actually overpower the small insect collectively and then feed on it. Birds will often also utilize these webs to make nests on the top. You can imagine that this forms a beautiful base to a bird. No real interaction between the bird or the spider. And we see a huge amount of these in the area, but this is a wonderful example, a really big community web spider. We can try and see if we can coax the little spiders out by trying to mimic an insect caught in the web. They are really not very big and perfectly harmless to your eye. You can see a grasshopper over here. It's actually been caught in the web. Completely dry exoskeleton now. It is a bit of a winter's morning, so the spiders might not be that active, waiting for the sun to warm up. Just try and delicately coax them out. We don't want to damage the web. There's a little spider coming out now. There they come. Another one. 2, 3. Okay, coming to investigate. Oh, and he's on it. He's got it. Trying to grab it, take it back in. At one stage we had 3 or 4 actually coming out to investigate. There's another one just a little bit higher up, a little bit difficult to see with the leaves in the background. Oh, there's another one coming. They've really grabbed hold of this. I can count 5 or 6 now actually right here. Okay, completely being overrun now. There we go. Got close on 10 little spiders here now. This is Brittany's absolute favourite. They're rather cheated with their grass. What a fantastic example of how these little spiders use collective strength to overpower their prey. Very cool. We're going to leave them now. I'm going to just break this off so we don't disturb them. And off we go. We're headed back into the buffalo carcass. We can see some vultures circling above us, and the rest of the birds look like they've come out of the trees. So I can only assume that that line has moved and the vultures have come down. We're going to slowly make our way in and investigate and see if maybe we can get some action on that spot. Okay, so we've made our way back in, and the reason why the vultures have moved off is because the lion has pulled this carcass completely into the thicket now. And I think they've decided that they'll have a better chance of getting a meal somewhere else. You can just make out the buffalo in front of him and lion just behind, nice and cool. And I think he is going to sit there for the rest of the day and quietly feed away on this. Well, it's been another incredible morning out here at Tandatula. We're truly spoilt with the lions, leopards, and variety of other animals we've encountered along the way. And it's been a real privilege to be bringing this to you. And a big shout out to some of our return guests who would have usually made their safaris around this time of the year and have been massive supporters of Tandatula for a couple of decades now. Brad Ziff, Mitch Lacey, Mike DeVivo, shout out from you, all of us here at Tandatula. Hope to see you guys all again soon. And I'm sure the pink prawn will be back in action soon with his quirky sense of humor. And we look forward to seeing you all again soon. Enjoy. Stay safe, everyone.